Welcome back to week 10. If this is the first video you're watching for this week, this I hope will be the shortest one. Just going to cover really quickly some of the readings, or one reading in particular that we're going to be working on for the next few weeks as we go into the last, part of the semester. I mean, we still have quite a few weeks, but we're in that last, close to that last fourth of the semester, right? Coming back from spring break, going into week 10 of a 16-week term. So what I'm going to ask you to start taking a look at, it's a longer story. It's called Sonny's Blues, written by James Baldwin. Just a minute, let me just go forward here. There we go. And so what I want to do is just start out and say just a little bit about James Baldwin, because I think it's really worth mentioning. He wrote so many things and was so influential as what we sometimes call like a public intellectual. He was somebody who got to debate a lot in his time, and had a lot of good things to say, both fiction and nonfiction. We're reading a fictional story, but he wrote a lot of great nonfiction as well. So let's just look real quick at what Wikipedia has to say about James Baldwin. So born in 1924, died in 1987, American writer and activist. And it just lists some of his essays, plays, poems here. Go Tell It on the Mountain, and Notes of a Native Son. Some of the themes he addressed, complex social and psychological pressures that he was dealing with, themes of masculinity, sexuality, race, and class. So you can really see, like, James Baldwin was writing mostly in the 40s, 50s, through the 70s, and passed away in 1987. But some of the things he was writing about are so timely today, I feel like. So it's a good, I think, a good choice for our author. But again, if you want to know more about James Baldwin, I just wanted to point out that obviously there's a lot about him in on the internet that you could read about him. But this is just I wanted to just share a little bit about him before we get into the reading. And let's see if I can get back to my PowerPoint. Also, if you want to hear a little bit more about Sonny's Blues, the story, I did put a link to a YouTube video. This is I'm not sure who this is, but it's somebody who has a YouTube channel. And what they tend to do is they explain really complicated stories and poems and other forms of literature in a way that I think is really accessible. If you don't like swearing, or if you have children around the background, I think just be aware. He's pretty informal, like I said, so there's a little bit of swearing and stuff. But I do think he does a great job of summarizing the story. So if you start reading the story and you're struggling, maybe go back to this PowerPoint video here, and you could just find this, or you could probably just search. What I did was search for Sonny's Blues. And that's again, this is I thought was a good version of that. So just giving this a nice summary. And so again, if you are struggling at all, check out that. There's more information about James Baldwin if for some reason you want to know that. If you like this story, his novels are great as well. So anyway, all right, we will keep going. And just like I said, I want to make this fairly brief. So Sonny's Blues is a longer story than we've read before, and that's why we're going to take several weeks. And this will be the last kind of main reading that we do for the semester, because we're going to base our essay 7, right? We're just on essay 5 now. And if you remember, essay 5 is based on that story by Jhumpa Lahiri called A Temporary Matter, about the characters who are struggling with, they've lost their child was lost, and they're dealing with that. That's our essay 5, and we're going to do a revision of that for essay 6, and then we'll move on. So we're a bit ahead in the reading, but that's fine. If you are stamped with the reading, you'll be a little bit ahead, and we'll write about it in our journal for several weeks, and then by the time we're ready to write essay 7, hopefully you'll have read this story, and we'll be able to talk about it then. I just give you a few page numbers here, different places you might look for the journal this week. So if you could read part 1, pages 483 to 493. The story itself is, as usual, it's going to be a PDF file that appears it's in our course content folder for week 10. So take a look at that. And then same thing for the summary this week. I'm just going to ask you to sort of summarize. And so I give just a few page numbers, a few questions to help you with that. So I promise this video would be very brief, and so I'll try to stick to that, be maybe right at 5 minutes. As always, if you have any questions about either the story that we're reading, this week, or the quiz that's coming up. If you haven't watched the other videos, I did a review for quiz number 3 in the overview lecture this week. So hope everybody has a great week. And again, be in touch if you have any questions or need help with anything. And if you can, get started with Sonny's Blues, and we'll be working on that for the next several weeks.